it downward towards treasured sites in Christianity.
All right. Welcome to Christmas. That's right. We're here. Whoa. I knew it was a little difficult. Sorry. Welcome and Merry Christmas. That's right. It's the James Webb telescope. And it's Christmas morning. And we're going to rock this world with the James Webb telescope. Hey, are you excited? Me too. You gotta be. How can you not be? It's history in the making. It's everything you thought this would be and more. Right? No? Not excited? I'm a little bit excited. I think it's incredible. And we're going to watch the launch today because it's historic. This has been going on. We've been waiting for this thing for like 30 years. And they're ready? Oh, okay. Yeah, where's the volume on this thing?
Is an incredibly ambitious mission. And Keith, you brought something to show us today.
Yeah, yes I did. So conceptually, Webb Sunshield is actually quite simple. All we need is 5.
So we're going to watch and learn on this stuff today.
Pieces of this material outstretched to protect the telescope from the sun. So what I have
We're going to have a little morning dew.
Of that material. This is just
no roll call today.
Yeah, it's an industrial. You can buy this, and it's commonly used. And what we do is we buy it for Webb. We seam it all together in small pieces, and then we actually coat it with special coatings to give it the
I got morning juice
we need in orbit. So this one has a nice pink or purplish kind of hue to it, and the reason it's purplish in hue, we use this on the sun side, and we actually put a silicon material on this Kapton, and then we.
Let's pause that for a minute. We'll get back to that. We got an hour to launch. I can't believe it's Christmas morning. Santa already came to my house, but I saw him going to other houses. And Rudolph's nose was so bright. He guided that sleigh last night. He's a pretty good guy. Huh? All right. I don't want to hold everybody back. I know I slept an hour. I think it looked pretty good for sleeping an hour. So let's go back to the telescope and let's learn what they're doing with it.
We actually put a little bit of a metal in it, and what that metal does is it gives us a nice electrical conductivity. We don't want any surface charges.
So I have here an example of a non-explosive actuator. We have 178 of these.
These are all these little pins we're talking about, right?
James Webb, right? Yeah. 107 of the 178 are membrane release devices. And we use this type of actuator because it produces
45 minutes to launch.
Released. And the animation shows conceptually how it works. We send an electrical signal through either one of our connectors. We use both, but either one of them can cause the release to happen. It melts a small wire inside, and then we have a spring that unwinds and allows 2 halves of a split nut to separate.
Good morning.
And then our
mind blown over UAPs.
And so in the case of the MRDs,
welcome to the show, Mr. Big Feet, Mr. Numbnuts. Good to see my Numbnuts here.
Places we would be
Adam Devlin, Moonlick.
Together and then
welcome.
So deploy them.
The Urban Way. Man,
107.
Adam Devlin, welcome to the show, man.
One has to work.
Adam Devlin.
Mike
Knapp. Unidentified SFAW.
Right. Well, if we go
cloudy with a chance of UFOs. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, you unidentified. Hellfire Studios. There you are, mate.
Right, full scale.
All right, I want to learn about the mirror.
One of the 18 mirror segments on James Webb. The real ones would be machined out of a single piece of beryllium to the exact curvature we need.
Beryllium?
And then once we're deployed on orbit, each segment can be individually focused to make it act as a single perfect mirror.
Now, that coating, tell us about this gold coating here.
Yeah, so this is coated with a very thin layer of gold. It's only a few hundred atoms thick.
Like your
overall,
hair.
And that gold is really good because it gives us a reflective property in the infrared, and that's really what Webb is an infrared telescope, and we need that sun shield exists to cool this entire telescope. So this mirror actually runs about minus 400 degrees Fahrenheit on orbit. If it were warmer than that, the infrared energy coming on.
I tell you what I want. I want the lights in the background. Who wouldn't want those? Look how cool they set that up. I want this. Whenever they get rid of this telescope or if it blows up, they're getting rid of all this shit. I want it.
Off of this, that heat energy would swamp our detector system and our instruments. So that entire sun shield exists to cool all 18 of these down. And again, this gold coating is what helps with all that reflectivity to make it perform even better.
Well, that's wonderful. So now you put it all together, and we have a smaller mock-up here. The sun shield, the mirror. Tell us what we're looking at here.
Much smaller. So,
She acts like she
this is
doesn't
our
know.
Entire observatory fully deployed on orbit, and you can see the sun shield here is a large feature. You can see all 5 layers that I talked about earlier, and it's the separation of those 5 layers which lets heat energy escape out to space before it eventually gets to this cold layer. Again, that entire telescope is running minus 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and the way we get it that cold is this side is shaded. The telescope is looking to the deep universe, which is near absolute zero. And
That's
then
this
again,
thing.
this layer here, we've got about a 500 degree temperature drop, so this telescope is also looking at this layer here, which is nice and cold. So that's what lets us, harness thermal physics to cool this down to those really, really cold temperatures. Again, you can see our booms, which are fully deployed and stretching this out, and then ultimately all folds up and gets stowed into this structure for launch.
Right, so the membrane release devices would be along the back side of these structures on the forward and the aft side. And we release them in
42
rows,
minutes.
So that we can sequentially start to unfold the membrane once those pins are pulled out of the way.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so
Wow,
much for joining us, and
pineapple
best of luck on
cake.
the launch.
Holy
I'm very
crap.
excited.
Yeah, thank you.
This is what do you call it? Caramel? Some sort of nut. Huckabee? Huckleberry? No. It's an H nut. And something else. I don't know. It's really good. I think I'm still high from earlier. Oh, come on. It looks like it's not going to launch with all this weather.
Here in Kourou and at the telescope's control center at the Space Telescope Science Institute in Baltimore conducted polls with all positions reporting they are go to proceed into the final phase of the countdown.
Wow.
Launch controllers have been monitoring weather conditions throughout the night, keeping tabs on clouds and wind speeds, both at ground level and in the flight path of the Ariane 5, ensuring that all of the precise commit criteria are acceptable for launch.
Nice.
Right now, we have a green board. No issues as the countdown proceeds. No issues again being tracked.
I don't trust
by
them.
the flight control team here in Kourou. By the way, our broadcast today is a collaborative effort between NASA and the European Space Agency. So that's it from now. From the Ariane 5 mission control here in Kourou, we'll be back with you soon. For now, let's go back to the Goddard Space Flight Center and Michelle Fowler.
Thank you very much, Rob. So Webb asks
The fake
big science
laugh.
questions.
It's all
It
pre-recorded.
demonstrates astounding technology. It inspires and excites people to dream and wonder. And the spark of inspiration is the ignition of creativity. Kids all over the world have a natural affinity for Webb's big pursuits. And now we have a collection of young artists ready to showcase their work.
Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Girardi, and this is Delta V, and we're kicking off the Unfold the Universe Challenge with NASA and the James Webb Space Telescope. NASA is hosting an Unfold the Universe Art Challenge. Use your imagination to share what you believe the Webb telescope will find.
I believe that the Webb's telescope will see.
All right, not interested, kid. Not interested. But I did see something that I have to say thank you for. Jackie O with a 10-pound. She just took it, rolled it up as tightly in a wad as possible. Oh, there it is, 10 pounds. I got to put numbers on my fingers, I think, for these stupid things I say. Thank you, Jackie O, a continuing supporter of GUFON on this Christmas morning. Santa came and went, and boy, did he leave me something nice. Let me show you one of these that he left me. I can't believe it. All I did was fall asleep for an hour. And I was left one of these. It's a GUFON hanger. Yeah, you can't see the green alien. Let me see if I can put this here. But, yeah, I got this. My cousin made it for me. And it says GUFON at the bottom there. But that's a green alien who's playing hide and go seek right now. You can't see him, but he's right there. So I'm going to hang this somewhere. And what else did I get? A lot of cool stuff. I got one of these. It's a travel mug. It's hot and cold. But it too has invisible aliens on it. These are green. But it's one of those hot and cold mugs. Yes. There are some more gifts I will showcase throughout the show. And I think you guys would be rather interested. You should be. Or maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. Thank you, Jackie O. Continuing supporter of GUFON. Is that Anjali? What is she doing there? That looks like her. Helen Crystal Energy with a 5-pounder. She says, Happy Christmas to Rich and all the gorgeous GUFOnians. Grazie. Grazie. You're a very kind, very correct, very generoso GUFOnian. Thank you, Helen Crystal Energy, and Merry Christmas to you and yours. A continuing supporter of GUFON, under 17, not permitted without parent. Thank you. Grazie, everybody. I need a drink of my shotzi. It's not sugar. This is, whatever. I don't remember what it's called. Sugar-free. Crystal Light.
These rapidly moving objects, because compared to these distant stars and galaxies, asteroids and comets, they move pretty quickly. And so Webb will be able to do this so that we can study material that's outgassing from them and learn more about what they're made of.
So let's see, there's just so many good questions that we only have time for a few more. So one is from Kristen Rodriguez on Facebook. How long will it take James Webb to reach Lagrange point 2? And you might also just explain what is Lagrange point 2?
So it takes a month. I think it's actually 29 days to get there. And the Lagrange point is this very interesting stable point.
Is it very interesting?
Pull between the sun
Jaime, is that you? Harry!
It is stable and you can, as we can see.
Thank you, Will Star. Will Strong, Nova Star. Welcome to the show. Ninja Realm, welcome to the show. Adam Devlin, welcome to the show.
Protecting the telescope from the radiation of the sun.
Guys are here to see history.
In a full year, you can observe any.
What's up, Dr. Numbnuts? I said hi, I said again. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. We'll hopefully come back to a few more questions later. So this
Andy Cowley! What's up, man?
To bring it to life all over the world.
Welcome to the show.
As we get closer
Mr. Big Feet, welcome to the show.
The
First Floor Audio, Lee! Welcome to the show. Merry Christmas.
Inside the massive high bay clean room at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center,
Cloudy with a chance of UFOs. Welcome to the show.
Segments into the backplane of the telescope.
Yeah, I know, right?
The 4 science instruments contributed by international partners.
What are they supposed to ask?
The harsh environment of launch, they went through vibration tests and acoustic tests. And to simulate a space environment, the instruments endured cryogenic testing in a large thermal vacuum chamber.
Haha.
But it wasn't large enough to hold both the instruments and the mirrors.
That's cool,
so
Shane.
The telescope boarded a plane to Houston, Texas, to visit the only thermal vacuum chamber in the world big enough to fit the entire assembly. Chamber A at the Johnson Space Center.
What's up,
was
Ninja
originally
Realm?
built to
Thank
test the
you.
Apollo
Merry
spacecraft.
Christmas. Merry
And
Christmas,
half a century
Nathan.
later, it provided a grueling 100-day
Good to see you,
test of
buddy.
the Webb telescope.
Can't believe you're here. Everybody's here. Well,
Next, the telescope
half.
travels
Well,
to
a
Northrop
third.
Grumman's facilities
Well.
in Redondo Beach, California, to meet up with its other half.
I'll see
the
Tiger Third
sun-chilled
Phaser
spacecraft
Grufonian
bus.
Rock Fam. What's up?
Fully
John P.
assembled at last,
Adventures. What's
the entire
up?
observatory went
Welcome,
through yet
guys.
more tests. Many focused on making sure
Stefan
the spacecraft
A.
could properly fold up
When
for
are we
launch
sending some
and
probes to
unfold
see
in
what's
space.
going on in our
Then
waters
in
here on Earth?
September
Yeah, good
2021,
question.
Webb caught a ride on a special
Right.
cargo ship and set out on a 16-day
Why do we spend
voyage
$14
to the
billion
European Space
on
Agency's
something
spaceport in Kourou, French
that we
Guiana?
already know the
According
answer
to its
to?
travel itinerary,
I
that's
don't
Webb's
understand
last
this.
port of call on Earth.
I'll be honest with you. Well, I know what they're trying to do, but it's not like they can point their telescope here at a planet and see some real stuff. According to some people, if there was like alien traffic around a planet 10 billion light years away, this telescope may be able to recognize it. I'm not too sure about that. What's up, Catherine Deere? Welcome to the show. Jeremy Cerrone, what's up? Welcome to the show. Good to see you. Merry Christmas. Can't believe I'm up. I actually did. I was here early, and I saw you guys were here like an hour ago, and I said, I'm going to go take a nap. Mr. Big Feet was here, as some other people. And I said, I'll be back. And sure enough, the alarm went off. Here I am.
The Mission Control Center here at the spaceport, the nerve center of operations. We're about 10 kilometers from that pad, and behind me you can see it's a laser focus here in the control center with the mission.
Yeah, laser focus, and they got Christmas hats on with a mouth diaper. You can't breathe and your head is cold. What's wrong with you people?
Control centers all on console there as we
I'm going to go get the vaccine.
Launch.
That doesn't work.
The fishbowl behind this fan is
Sorry, I had to say
CEO
something.
of Arianespace. Arianespace is the company responsible for getting our telescope into space today.
Should be
Stefan,
fun, right, guys?
Thanks for joining us. No
Should
pressure.
be fun to throw around a bit.
How are things looking?
How about that guy, ladies?
31 minutes before liftoff. So far, so
Oh,
good.
this guy has an
Ariane
accent.
is
That's a
ready.
turn on.
Webb is ready. The range is
Stephanie,
ready.
and his name is
The weather-
Stephanie.
Well, that's good to hear. So what can we expect to see? What's going to happen?
Yes, so in the 30 coming minutes, we will make the final operations. 10 minutes before liftoff, we will have the final authorization of the weather. And 7 minutes before liftoff, we will enter in the famous synchronized sequence.
And, I mean, how's everyone feeling? I'm guessing everyone's...
We launched for humanity this morning from the Guyana Space Center. You know what Webb is about? After Webb, we will never see the skies in quite the same way.
It's an important project, isn't it? For
Yeah.
It's a
everybody?
very special mission, but we have delivered already 111 times with Ariane. This is the 112 Ariane 5, so we will deliver this morning.
And everybody there
we have
in the
delivered
control
all.
center, cool,
oui.
calm, and collected. Stefan, thank you very much for having taken time to step out of the fishbowl for us. So you can head back now into the fishbowl.
Look how
and
this
take
guy
your
holds the
position.
microphone.
Stefan
What
Israel,
the
Thank
hell?
you very much indeed. Stefan, of course, heads up what we call the flight desk, which is the
Wow.
the authority that takes all the final decisions in the event of unplanned situations. Now, we are in French Guiana. We're on the northeastern coast of South America.
She's annoying.
In Amazonia, it's hot. It can get a little bit sweaty.
Yeah, I
sometimes,
changed my
and there are
mind on what I
lots and lots
said.
of
Not
mosquitoes. But
interested.
somebody who knows it very, very well is Raphael.
She opened up her mouth.
Raphael is a rocket science scientist, or
Look
a
at this
rocket
guy.
expert, at least, from
He's as skinny
Arianespace.
as the
Thanks for
rocket.
joining us, Raphael. Tell us a little bit more about French Guiana.
Well, French Guiana is a French territory that borders Brazil.
The French
It's located in
territory.
the Amazon rainforest. 97%
Wow.
of the land is covered in trees, so that's why it's so green and beautiful.
That's
and
awesome.
You can totally imagine that the wildlife there is absolutely incredible. This is actually one of the best preserved habitats in the world.
And
Wow.
of course, it is
Wow.
in the jungle.
It's beautiful.
It is actually the European spaceport. So what makes this location in South America so important and so relevant?
Well, there are several reasons for this. First, we are on the coast. It means that we can launch over the sea from north to east without having to fly over inhabited area. So this is very convenient to reach any kind of orbit. There is no hurricane here, big tropical storm.
Oh my God, he talks like UFO Jesus.
We are very close to the equator, so that we can benefit from what we call the slingshot effect.
He went to the UFO Jesus school of not how to act.
So let me take this globe. Basically, here on the equator, we are all traveling at roughly 1,000 miles per hour. That's very convenient. Of course, we don't feel
around a flat Earth.
On the poles, that speed would be very, very close to zero. It means that when Webb is right now on the launch pad, inside the fairing of the Ariane 5, it's already traveling in the right direction, and we can use this extra boost to get us into space. That's also very convenient for Webb, because doing so, it can save its fuel and increase its operational life in orbit at 1.5 million kilometers from here.
And that really is important, 1 million miles, isn't it? And so there's a real proper slingshot effect. And
Shut off.
The facilities here are ultra high-tech, and that's exactly what Webb needs, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very convenient for Webb. It's also located in a nature reserve.
Get off her.
So
God.
This is the perfect meeting between nature and technology, and people come from all over the world to work here.
Look at that thing. It's so small.
Very important for Webb is
that's what she said.
Because one speck of dust could alter the vision of the observatory in space.
UFO.
That's why we have been extremely careful.
Alien structures on the moon.
Environment in all our
alien structures on Mars.
From Webb's arrival in French Guiana to
it's a rocket.
Inside the rocket.
So let's talk a little bit now about the Webb Space Telescope. I really don't think you need me to tell you that it is the product of a feat of human ingenuity.
No, can you get somebody else, please?
To make a telescope as complex as the James Webb Telescope and as remarkable without tremendous amount of collaboration. And the James Webb Space Telescope is indeed
Good morning, Dorothy. Merry
partnership
Christmas.
Between 3 space agencies who came together to create it, NASA, the European Space Agency,
Welcome
and
to the
also
show.
the Canadian Space Agency.
Falling
So here
asleep.
to talk about that now is Greg Robinson from NASA. Greg, thank you very much for coming.
27 minutes.
Out of the fishbowl as well for us. And we're talking
T-minus.
serious teamwork here, aren't we?
Yes, Katie. We've benefited from an amazing partnership with the Canadian Space Agency and the European Space Agency. Over the life of the development, we've had more than 10,000 people actually touch Webb, 29 states in the U.S. and 14 countries across the globe, and not to mention the amazing industrial base across the globe that have benefited here. In order to do bold missions like this, it takes lots of resources and lots of expertise, so we maximize everyone's expertise.
And how did this bold mission get onto an Ariane 5 European launcher?
So as part of the partnership, the Canadian Space Agency contributed science instruments, and they're incredibly important for this mission. And so did ESA, science instruments. And
so my prediction that I made, I don't know, several hours ago on the other show, is that something is going to go wrong. Capiche? Ooh. It's a one capiche show, gents and ladies. It's a one capiche show. She's really odd. She's a strange fellow. Handsome fellow. I don't know what I was going to say. I'm so tired. As soon as they launch that stupid thing and it gets up and it gets out into space, yeah, we're going to stay about another 5 minutes and I'm going back to sleep. But thank you for the support. Thank you for showing up. This is historic no matter how you look at it. It really is. It's a historic day because this telescope is going to see better. Like if you look behind me, let's get rid of her for a second. See this up here behind me? Right here? This is the Hubble. This is the James Webb. So that's the difference. It's going to see all of that stuff. That's all it is. It's just seeing clear. It's nothing. Yeah, I mean, come on. You know what I mean? No, it's cool, man. It is. It's real cool. It's going to do a lot. We're going to see further than we ever have. We're supposedly going to see things we never saw before. And it'll take a while for it to unravel and open up the antennae. It's going to take, what is it? 6 to 8 weeks or months? 6 months? Whatever it is, I can't wait that long. I don't like it. 6 months.
That are located on each side of the rocket. They will provide the main thrust in order to literally push the rocket against the gravity of the Earth. Then you have these big tanks that form the main cryogenic stage with the main engine Vulcan at the bottom.
And then you have the Webb telescope right at the top, inside the fairing.
It is right there on the launch pad, and together they are put on top of the third stage, a cryogenic stage, and it is this upper stage that is going to place Webb into orbit.
And what about the engines? What are we going to see at liftoff?
At liftoff, we first see the main Vulcan engine ignite first. We do this because we want to check it's working properly before we switch on the solid boosters 7 seconds later. Once it's done, there is no turning back. The rocket is going to lift off. And so, yeah, that's very, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you don't see the rocket lifting off for 7 seconds. That's time for the rocket to actually warm up before soaring into the sky.
So once we light the touch paper, you can count to 7 before it actually lifts off. Now, one of the advantages of the Ariane 5 vehicle is that it can be modified, and that's exactly what we've done for today's launch. We've had to make some changes for it to be able to host the Webb satellite. And joining me to talk about that is somebody who, the right person for the job indeed, because he was in charge of those changes, Daniel Deschambre from the European Space Agency. Thanks for joining us, Daniel. What did you have to do?
First, we need to recall that Webb will be the largest payload to be ever accommodated on I-5.
Daniel Deschambre?
With gaps as small as 10 centimeters for a diameter of 5 meters. It is the reason why we had to develop a specific integration procedure to ensure that there is no contact with them. After separation, during separation, the venting system of the launcher has been improved in order to balance as much as possible the inside and the outside pressure of the fairing. And this is due to the fear of depressurization shock, which could damage the delicate layers of Webb sensor.
I think if it does get launched and it makes it successfully to its orbit million miles away, I think there's going to be issues. I don't know. I hate to be Dickie Downer. But this thing has had so many, I don't know what, things go wrong. Isn't that what happened? So many delays. I remember when it was supposed to launch in 2014 and I was like, wow, I only have to wait a month. This thing's gonna, then it was then a week later, well, we got a delay, there's some issues, we gotta go back to the drawing board. Always something with this telescope. I think it's doomed from the beginning. I am a soothsayer. Why not? Everybody always talks about the success. We're due for an explosion like this with a payload. We're due. That's what, and I don't like the size of this rocket. I don't think it can do the job. I think they're overcompensating for their shortcomings with the small rocket. I think I need to see something bigger. All right, let's listen what's going on.
Journey, because it's traveled to the launch pad from Los Angeles. After final tests were concluded in Los Angeles, Webb was packed into a special container and transported along the LA 405 freeway, which had to be closed because it's so big.
They go 15 miles an hour, right? That's it?
It traveled on a special ship. A lot of spacecraft will come to the French Guiana launch site by plane, but Webb was too big for that, so it had to travel by ship, and it went through the Panama Canal.
Ooh. You hear that, kids? It went right through the canal. James Webb went through the canal.
Through the locks.
It's kind of cool, though.
And it took 16 days to get to the port in Kourou, where it was unloaded and traveled to the spaceport. That's not the real Ariane 5, that's a model. Just outside the Jupiter Control Center, actually. It was unpacked very carefully in the facilities that Raphael was talking about. And then fueling started, and of course, the teams had to wear special suits because that's a dangerous job. And then it was placed all the way on top of the Ariane 5 rocket. It was encapsulated inside the fairing and sealed. And then it was rolled out to the launch pad 2 days ago.
A lot of aluminum foil. That's a lot of tin foil indeed.
To the pad along very special rails. Very, very slowly. Through the Amazon rainforest. It was raining at the time. And that was 2 days ago, and here we are now, 17 minutes and 46 seconds to launch and counting. All systems are go.
Yeah, we'll see.
Spaceport in
I'll be the
French Guiana.
judge.
We have 3 control centers on the job today. We have the Mission Control Center here. We also have the Launch Control Center, which is about a mile from the pad. And then we also have the Telescope Control Center, Mission Control in Baltimore in the US, and that's where the operational teams are standing by to take over the telescope operations. Once it's released from the mothership, that will be about 27 minutes after launch. And they'll be controlling the Webb telescope for the rest of its life. Very important job.
Isn't it supposed to live for like 6 to 10 years or something out there?
The James
Right?
Webb Space Telescope is a truly remarkable observatory. People have been working on it for over 2 decades. Some people have been working on it for their whole professional lives. Thomas Zabrucken is the head
You
of
and your rosy
science
cheeks.
at NASA, and he's joining me now just to talk about it. Thomas, I mean,
Hello, love.
as, we can
Hello.
also call you. The day has come.
They said it's not going to affect the
All this
launch.
time, all these people working on the telescope, and here we are, 16 minutes and counting to launch. It's a big day, huh?
Oh, I'm so amazed, right? We have this
I'm so
telescope on top of
amazed.
this rocket, a telescope that 10,000 plus people have worked on in many ways, and together with that telescope, all the hopes and dreams of those individuals, and also tens of thousands of scientists, some of them not even born, that will benefit from these data, are there with them waiting for these last minutes of countdown.
That's
for a journey
cool.
to space.
I'm guessing people are feeling a combination of emotional excitement. What's going through people's minds, do you think?
Oh, I think there's a tremendous sense of accomplishment. Whenever you're on top of a rocket, many things went really, really well. There's tremendous pride. There's always a little bit of anxiety. We know launching is hard. We have one of the absolute best teams in the world working on this right now, so I'm confident in that. We're super excited. I mean, it's just an amazing day today.
And what are you most excited about, Dr. Z?
Well, I'm a scientist. So for me, besides the technology that really is a marvel, I mean, it's really the best we can do. What I'm thinking about is really looking at the universe in new light. We have never seen the universe how Webb will show it to us. And can you just imagine going back in time, 13.5 billion years? It boggles your mind, even as a professional astrophysicist. Kind of just think about all the new things we're going to learn about our most beautiful universe.
Dr. Z, thank you very, very much for joining us. And I want to wish you and all the teams, everybody, the very best for today's launch. Thank you.
14 minutes and 33 seconds.
Yes, indeed, go Webb. So we are now 14 minutes and 30 seconds to launch. We're getting really close now. Everything's going well. All systems are green for launch. And I'm going to hand you over now to NASA's Rob Navius in the skybox alongside the European Space Agency's Luce Fabregat, who are going to take on the commentary from here on in. Over to you guys. Rob.
Well, thank you, Katie. Merry Christmas to our worldwide audience from our broadcast booth high atop the Jupiter Control Center here in Kourou. Joining me today for this historic launch, my colleague Luce Fabregat, the head of infrastructure and value chain for the European Space Agency. Luce, good morning.
Good morning,
great to be with you. Great to be with you today.
Very pleased to be here with you and all of you watching us for this very special event.
Well, at this hour, countdown clocks are ticking backward. We are at T-minus 13 minutes, 32 seconds. And
I have to tell you, I'm exhausted. I think I fell asleep. I think I was sitting here listening and fell asleep for a second. Oh, look at this. Oh, I thought that was a dragonfly. Never mind. Doesn't that look like a dragonfly? Right here. This is going to be exciting. I have to admit, but I'm really worried that on this beautiful Christmas day, something is going to put the kibosh on this launch. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to be Dickie Killjoy. I want to be Mr. Happy, Mr. Positivity. It's just with all the delays. I mean, even it was supposed to go up yesterday, right? And they delayed it. They delayed it to launch at a certain time. Then they readjusted the time. I'm like, next thing you know, they're going to say, nope, scrub it. But here we are. Everything's green to go, apparently. And we will see the launch of this minuscule rocket. I mean, it's pretty big, compared to us, but...
Prepared for the final launch operations. And at the time being,
12
minutes. It's rather quiet now inside the launch table and also inside the launcher. We were told a few minutes ago by the Launch Control Center here that the launcher fluids and electric systems are ready for the final automated sequence. They are on hold now, waiting for the last weather report at minus 10 minutes. After this
somebody got a professional shave haircut.
Later, we will have the beginning of this famous synchronized sequence when
look at this guy
systems
texting.
Will be made ready
it's
for the
Christmas. It's almost New Year's.
First be run by the
I'm still at work.
calculator,
I'll see you tomorrow morning.
The onboard
Maybe.
computer will take the lead step by step. And
This
the
guy's
launch
sleeping in the
vehicle
back.
Will be made autonomous from the ground system. You know that we have 2 tanks in each cryogenic stage,
No.
upper stage and main stage. All 4 tanks are, of course, thermally insulated from the hot environment we have here in French Guiana. However, these liquid propellants are at very low temperature and because of that, slightly evaporate.
Oh.
And to ensure they are perfectly loaded at liftoff, their final loading and topping up will last up to 4 minutes before the launch. So that will be the beginning of the synchronized
Wow,
sequence
6 minutes till it starts for real.
Then we
I
will
can't believe this!
On the fluid side, the end of the topping up, the final loading and the topping up.
We are at the final loading where the rocket will propel itself into space. 1,000,000 millions all past the moon and the Earth's atmosphere. This is going to be super fantastic day for Christmas in America. You are celebrating the Lord Jesus Christ and Santa. Santa? Ah, there's a UFO. Look at that thing. Oh no, don't. Oh, Jesus, man, look at it. It's inspecting the rocket. I don't like that.
It's a 27-minute ride to orbit from liftoff until the time that the Webb Observatory is separated from the upper stage of the Ariane 5 rocket. Several minutes later, the commands will be given to unfurl its solar array, followed by the confirmation from the telescope controllers in Baltimore that we are power positive, meaning that electrical current is flowing through that solar array. With us today inside the so-called fishbowl, seated with mission controllers on the floor of the control room, is Raphael Chevrier of Arianespace. Raphael, how's everything looking? What's being discussed down there?
Hey!
Hi, Rob. Well, so far, so good. We just
This guy hasn't seen a gym ever.
All green
His
for
whole
the
life is
80
James
that
Webb.
is, forecast right now. What we check was altitude.
It's amazing what
wind
sacrifices
conditions
these
of the
people
launch
make.
pad and risk of lightning. So right now, it's a relief because the weather was a bit tough in the last couple of days. But
Right? I mean, these people sacrificed their lives for this telescope. If this telescope is successfully launched and docked and operational, it is going to be one of the biggest achievements of mankind, believe it or not, at least for the space station. Space? At least for space. At least for NASA, ESA, and these and the three wise men over here. Hi, yeah, you heard me.
All of this activity, we cannot forget that it is Christmas Day. 53 years ago, the astronauts of Apollo 8 completed their 10th and final orbit of the moon after reading from the book of Genesis on Christmas Eve to billions of people watching with rapt attention back on our planet. The astronauts then headed for home following their spacecraft's trans-Earth injection burn. Today, more than a half-century later, we're just minutes away from another Genesis.
This is great.
The Genesis of new era of discovery. The launch of the James Webb Space Telescope is at hand. We're just 38 seconds away from entering the critical synchronized sequence. You're going to be hearing all the critical calls from the DDO, the Range Operations Manager, who is Jean-Luc Voyer, here in the launch, in the Mission Control Center.
Picard!
He will be calling the start of synchronized sequence, all of the critical
This is
countdown
unbelievable!
milestones, and we will be listening very intently for his calls. Let's stand by.
À tous de DDO.
Et
Attention
tout.
pour la séquence finale lanceur.
All in French. 7 minutes.
Top. À 0 moins 7 minutes.
He's nervous.
With that, we've entered the period of synchronized sequence. You heard Luce Fabregat just
This
a
is
moment or two
crazy.
ago,
I'm very excited.
Explain some of the critical activities. The first one coming up just a few seconds from now, which will be the topping off of the main stage.
This is my energy.
The first or core stage was loaded earlier this morning with 175 tons of propellant, 150 tons of liquid oxygen, and 25 tons of liquid hydrogen. The upper stage loaded with 15 tons of propellant. That will be the workhorse for a 16-minute burn to lift James Webb to its final orbit. At separation, some 27 minutes and 7 seconds after launch, James Webb will be at an altitude of about 864 statute miles. To put that into perspective, some 520 miles higher than the Hubble Space Telescope and more than 600 miles higher than the International Space Station. Webb at that point will be traveling about 21,000 miles an hour as it heads out to a highly elliptical, halo-like racetrack orbit some 1 million miles from Earth to begin its scientific observations.
Ariana Grande Rocket Center.
1 minute from now, we will see the 4 tanks pressurized at their flight level for the last tests before the ignition of the Vulcan engine. And in parallel, the electric system are also set in flight configurations. The onboard computer, the electrical power, as for the telescope, it will switch from ground to internal power 1 minute before the launch, 1 minute and 5 seconds before the launch. And we are going to see -6 seconds. At -6 seconds, we will see the disconnection of the upper stage, this big cryotechnic.
Thank you, South Point 1360. 4 minutes,
Then,
53
3
seconds.
before the H0, the inertial platform that will give all the information about where it is to the launcher will be released. And at H0, the 7-second sequence to ignite the Vulcan
Absolutely,
engine of the
Cloud
main
Horse.
stage will start. That will take 7 seconds, a little less than 7 seconds, where the engine will start up to its flight regime. Once the computer has checked that the Vulcan engine is running normally, and
1 million miles from Earth.
going stable
That's
at
all.
the outlet of the nozzle, and at that point, the onboard computer will ignite the 2 boosters that will enable to move the 770 tons of Ariane and Webb.
That's
Coming up on
right.
the T-minus 4
Fro
minute
20.
mark right now. Just a couple
If
of
the
milestones
if
real
the
quick.
James Webb
At the 1 minute,
telescope
5-second mark into the flight.
doesn't work or something goes wrong, that's it. It's a dead duck. It sits up there in space broken until we have the technology to go get it and fix it.
The rocket itself, the solid rocket boosters, which will provide about 90% of the initial thrust.
When
off
there's
the
1
launch
minute
pad,
left, I will be
shut
quiet
down
and we
separate
will
at
listen
the
to
2 minute,
countdown.
21-second mark into the flight, followed 1 minute and 5 seconds after that by fairing jettison. That will expose the James Webb Space Telescope to the environment of flight.
I hope
for
you're
the
right,
first time.
Dorothy.
The main stage separation, or the first stage separation, comes at the T-minus at the 8 minute 47-second mark into the flight.
Jello
And
pudding.
that will be about a 16-minute burn of that upper stage engine. It will cut off at about 24 minutes 51 seconds into the flight, and then we'll go into a coast phase of about 2.5 minutes to allow any operations to dampen out, provide the
What is
most
going
pristine
on?
environment for the James Webb Telescope before observatory separation.
We better not see a rat running around the
Coming
booster
up on
rocket.
the 2 minute 50-second mark into the flight. Again, you're going to be hearing critical calls down the stretch here from the DDO, or the Range Operations Manager, Jean-Luc Voyer.
Jean-Luc Picard. There can't be repairs.
The weather is good.
There will
We
never
have a
be
green
repairs
board, no issues being worked.
till we have the technology to
NASA
get there.
officials, including
That's what
Greg
they
Robinson
said
on the
earlier.
right, carefully watching the telemetry, looking intently.
This
at the
sweater
final
is
couple
itchy.
of minutes of the countdown. Lives have been spent in the preparation.
What's up, Lady
of the
Bird?
James Webb Space Telescope that is about to fly.
That's Lady Bird Johnson right there. No? Oh, that's the ex-president. Okay. Maybe I'll be quiet with 2 minutes. Minute and 30.
And that is the
No.
DDO, the Range Operations Manager.
2 minutes.
Jean-Luc Voyer, as we have hit the 2 minute mark in the countdown.
I already told him, Jeff. Look, he has to have his own rocket. Oh, look at this.
The flight will be in 2 phases. You will
Where are
see
they
the first
going?
part of the flight during the solid rocket boosters phase.
They're going to
That
go
will be the
outside to feel the
atmospheric
heat.
part of the flight, the atmospheric flight, and the trajectory will be driven by a very to reduce the aerodynamic loads. And then we will have a
Aerodynamics.
very different exo-atmospheric flight after that.
All right, I'll be quiet. Shh.
And you were watching a number of people, VIPs and invited guests, moving out to the observation platform that is right next to the Jupiter Control Center as we stand by for the 1 minute call from Jean-Luc Voyer.
À tous les DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute.
It's not a minute. You're off by 7 seconds.
Top, à 0 moins 1 minute.
Oh, I see what he did.
Thumbs up from Jean-Luc Voyer. All systems are go. We're
It's
inside
gonna
the minute
happen.
now. T-minus 50 seconds and counting.
Keep your eyes open for
As you heard
UFOs.
earlier, the Vulcan 2 engine will ignite. Turbo pumps will come up to flight speed for 7 seconds, and the command will be issued to ignite the solid rocket boosters. The James Webb Space Telescope will be on its way.
Yeah, we'll see. Shh. Don't talk anymore.
T-minus 30 seconds and counting.
Ooh. Shh. Nothing's happening.
Standing
Shut
by
up.
for terminal count.
À tous les DDO, attention pour les décomptes finales. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, unité, top.
Here we go.
And we have
Come on, baby.
And liftoff.
UAP, décollage.
All right.
Liftoff from a tropical rainforest to the edge of time itself. James Webb begins a voyage back to the birth of the universe.
Holy crap, it's already in clouds. Look at
Punching
how...
a hole through the clouds, 20 seconds into the flight. Good pitch program reported.
Wow. That thing just took off like a toy.
Trajectoire est nominale.
Nominal.
Vehicle performance is nominal.
See? I took French in school. Je m'appelle Richard.
The Ariane 5 rocket continues
oh, this is great. Thank you.
Nominal fashion.
Thank you. It's by the way, the James Webb Telescope is invisible at this time.
Being felt here in the control center.
This is not
3D animation.
Come on.
We can hear the noise and feel the vibrations here. You're right, Rob. Yeah, impressive.
13
Come on.
kilometers in altitude, 7 kilometers downrange, traveling about 0.6 kilometers per second.
Don't they have a camera on the thing? Show us the rocket!
Reported to be nominal by Jean-Luc Voyer, the range operations manager. You can see at the bottom of your screen, the yellow line is the trajectory plot, perfectly overlaid over the green line, which was the pre-launch trajectory. 1 minute, 41 seconds into the flight, about 40 seconds away from shutdown of the solid rocket boosters.
I think I'm a little angry right now. Anybody feel angry that we're not seeing anything?
Coming up on the 2-minute mark into the flight.
When it detects the threshold on acceleration, not the deceleration, but less acceleration for
Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
Everything is okay. Everything is normal.
I'm not
2 minutes,
interested.
15 seconds into the flight.
When the computer detects this threshold, it will separate.
Séparation des EAP.
Done.
We have
I don't believe you.
Rocket booster separation from Jean-Luc Voyer.
No.
It's coming at an altitude of 44 miles. The Ariane 5.
There's got to be another one here that's showing shit.
Leaves
Nope, they're all
here,
showing
as
the
is now
same.
The case, the satellite does not need anymore to be protected, and Webb does not need anymore to be
Paramètres à bord
protected.
sont normaux.
So each kilogram being very important for the performance of the launch, we are going to eject this no more useful fairing.
This sucks.
And let's go down to the floor in the Jupiter Control Center to Raphael Chevrier of Arianespace.
Who
Raphael,
gives a
so far so good.
Shut
Hi,
up.
Rob. So far, so good. Everything. We say when attitude. and
It's all the
trajectory
same.
of the Ariane 5 is going perfectly well, as you can see also on the yellow line
Langage de la coiffe.
on the screen. We had the confirmation of the separation of the two solid boosters and now of the fairing, meaning that we have crossed the limits of the atmosphere. So everything is going
Tous les paramètres à
super
bord sont
good.
normaux.
And the DDO just said that all parameters are going perfectly smoothly. So let's continue the mission.
And Raphael, this is a view from the upper stage camera called the Vicky Cam, looking back at the James Webb Space Telescope. This is on about a 20-second delay or so because the way the imagery is processed here in the control room. There's your telescope ready to unfurl its wings basically and begin its journey to the Lagrange point, the L2 point, about 1 million miles away from Earth.
Whoa, what was that?
La trajectoire est nominale.
Trajectory is nominal. The report from Jean-Luc Voyer.
This is very disappointing.
The liftoff time confirmed here in the Mission Control Center at 12:20 Greenwich Mean Time, 9:20 a.m. Peru time, 7:20 a.m. Eastern Time.
Thank you, Penelope New, with the £5
The
support
Ariane 5 and James
on
Webb,
Christmas Day. Thank you very
181
much.
Kilometers in altitude, 450 kilometers downrange from the launch site here in Kourou.
Flight control is very smooth.
5 minutes, 12 seconds into the flight. We have
Penelope
about,
New,
3.5
thank you.
minutes to go
Very
in,
generous
main
and
stage or first stage performance.
I appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you and yours,
Yellow
if you
plot
celebrate.
line overlaid over the
I
green
think you do.
line, meaning we are right on course, right down the pike, and a perfect trajectory so far for the Ariane 5 rocket.
Oh, this is just awful.
Data are now received by the
This isn't what I saw.
station,
I know,
which
right,
is
Mr. Big
which is close
Feet? It's
to
already
here, where we
landed.
are in Kourou.
This is making me angry.
The launcher up to the ignition of its upper stage, and then we'll have the Natal station in Brazil, Ascension as you can see on the map, in the middle of the ocean, and the two last stations in Africa, Libreville and Malindi, one on the east coast, the other one on the west coast. And the one on the west coast, Malindi, you can see that the telescope will be separated more or less over this Malindi station. And this Malindi station will also acquire the telemetry data from the telescope. You can see both are green, Galileo and Natal on this animation. It means they are expected to receive the data, and it was confirmed right now by the launch operations manager.
Acquisition de télémesure par la station de Natal au Brésil.
And just confirming now that telemetry is being processed through the Brazilian tracking station. The telescope is also processing telemetry through the tracking and data relay satellite system. As it moves further and further out into deep space, all of the telescope's telemetry and its imagery ultimately will be processed through the Deep Space Network in Goldstone, California. We passed the 7-minute mark into the flight. A perfect ride so far on the Ariane 5. We have about 1.5 minutes to go in the first stage performance. Once the main stage engine is commanded to cut off, it will be jettisoned, and just a few seconds after that, the upper stage engine will ignite, and it will be the workhorse for a 16-minute burn that will put James Webb into its preliminary orbit.
Well, that's it. That's it. They launched it. It's out there. Everything succeeded. They're getting their... I mean, we're not able to see anything.
Now, telescope controllers at the Space Telescope Science Institute will be sending commands to prepare James Webb for the initial...
Defeats the purpose of me being here now. So, I want to thank everybody for hanging out. Yep, it is a new video game. That's true. I thank your support for GUFON. Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and yours. James Webb is up and it's safely going to its destination. And then we'll do we'll do the unfolding in 6 months or whenever they do it. We'll be back for each and everything they do, every stage. So Merry Christmas to you. Thank you, everybody. May God bless each and every one of you. Have a great Christmas. I'll see you Monday.